Yo guys, what is going on and welcome back to the channel. In this GTA Online video, I'm going to be going over the new best updated settings for 2022. But just before we get into the video, we just have a quick word from our sponsor. If you guys looking to buy cheap GTA Online money or modded accounts, head over to auroraresupply.com for the best prices there is. When on the website, just head over to the GTA Online section and we can choose from any of these options. They offer a 10 out of 10 service and amazing customer support, so check them out through the link in the description. Now that we're back guys, the first settings we're going to go through are the control settings. But if you guys are looking for a specific setting, please feel free to use the timestamps below. But to start things off in these control settings guys, you want to make sure that show controls for is set to on foot third person. Moving on to targeting mode, you guys can only change this in story mode or the creator mode, and this is really down to what you guys prefer. Personally, I like to use assisted aim full for missions. It just makes things so much easier, but this option is totally down to you guys. For the next setting, we have vibration. Now I prefer this off. Essentially, for those of you guys who don't know, vibration is just your controller vibration. So every time an explosion goes off or something like that, you guys will feel it in your controller. I would probably only turn this on if you guys are playing story mode, as it can definitely help you guys with the immersion. But now for the next setting, we have invert look. I prefer this off. Maybe some people play with invert look on, but if you guys are new to the game, then this option is probably most likely going to be on off. Now for third person control type, I like to use the standard FPS 2 option, and I also like to use this for the first person control type. I have been using this control type for a long time now, and in my opinion, I think it just makes everything so much easier. The biggest change that this control type does is it changes your sprint button from the A button or the X button, and instead makes the sprint button the RB button. And the reason I find this so effective is because usually when you sprint using the A button or the X button, you guys will most likely be using your thumb, which is on your right analog stick. So pretty much when you guys are doing that, you won't really be able to look around effectively. Therefore, when you move the sprint button to the RB button, it essentially means that you guys can sprint and look around. But moving further down guys, we have some sensitivity options. Now, the majority of these sensitivity options are really down to you. However, if you guys are looking for a new sensitivity, this is what I like to use. For third person aiming sensitivity, I like to keep this just over half. For the first person look around sensitivity, I just like to keep this on around about a quarter. I also like to do the same with the first person aiming sensitivity as well. For the third person look around sensitivity, I like to keep this on just over half, just like the first sensitivity option. For the third person aim and look dead zone, I like to keep this on a quarter. This really depends on your controller guys. If your controller is relatively new, then you probably don't need to turn this up a bunch. This really just depends if you guys get stick drift, and I would recommend that you guys just mess around with this setting if you guys are getting stick drift. I also do the same with the first person aim or look dead zone. Once again guys, just tweak this accordingly to your controller. Now for third person aim and look acceleration, I like to keep this just under a quarter. Anything above this and it feels like my look is being accelerated way too fast. On the other hand though, for the first person aim and look acceleration, I like to keep this on a half. For some reason, the first person default settings really do feel slow, so simply just adjusting the setting to half a bar really helps it be more fluent. But after that setting, we have allow movement when zoomed. Now you guys just want this on. I mean, if you guys don't have it on, you're going to be missing out. There is absolutely no benefit to having this option turned off. Now for the switch handbrake with duck or hydraulics. Personally, I like to keep this on because back when I used to play GTA on the Xbox 360, the handbrake button was already the A button, so I got really used to this, and then next gen came along and added the duck and hydraulic things, and it just switched these two around. So I'm really happy that they actually have this feature in the settings, and I would probably recommend that you guys try it out. But now for the final settings in the controls tab, we actually have the drive-by control type. Now this setting is really down to you guys. I mean, you can definitely try them out, but what I found to like the most was the aim plus fire. I just feel like you have more control with this option on. But yeah guys, definitely give these controls a go. But we will be moving down to the audio settings. Starting things off for the sound effects volume, this will adjust the sound of gunshots for example, or explosions in the game. Now this is really down to personal preference. I don't mind the gunshots or the explosions, so I like to keep this around about half or even full. For the music volume, this is the soundtracks in the game, for example, the radio stations, and also the music that plays when you guys are in a mission. Once again, just like the sound effects volume, I just like to keep this one around about half, maybe a bit more. For the dialogue boost option, I have never really messed around with this, but from what I can tell, this actually boosts the dialogue volume. So when a specific character is speaking and you guys have this on on full, then that dialogue will be boosted over the sound effect and also the music. For radio station, just select your favorite radio station in the game. This is really simple. I also believe that when you select your radio station here, every time you get into a vehicle, this radio station will be automatically selected. So it's definitely not a bad feature. Now for the output, this really depends on what you guys have. You guys can either switch this to TV, speakers, or surround sound speakers. Once again, it just entirely depends on what you guys own. But if you guys do have this selected to TV, you should still be able to hear your volume coming through your headphones if you guys have these headphones plugged into your controller. Now that we've gone through all of the audio settings, we are now going to be moving down to the camera settings. And to start things off in the camera settings, you guys want to change the allow independent camera modes to off. This is what I found to work the best. For the vehicle camera height, you guys want to put this on high, but this also depends on your personal preference. The reason I prefer this on high is so that I can see any cars in front of me. For the first person auto level camera, I put this on. This will just save you guys leveling your camera out. Just bear in mind though that this is only for the first person camera. Moving on, we have first person on foot field of view. Now I would highly recommend that you guys put this all the way to full. This will allow you guys to see more things around you when you guys go into first person. I like to keep first person ragdoll on. Obviously, if you guys don't like this, then you guys can just simply come back into the settings and turn it off. For the first person combat role, I like to keep this off. I just hate the way how the camera moves when you guys are in first person and you do a combat role. Not only that guys, but if you guys have this option off, then you will actually switch into first person to do your combat role. For first person head bobbing, I like to keep this off. It just seems to me that it makes the game look a little bit more smoother when your guy's character is not head bobbing. Now for first person third person cover, I like to keep this option selected as on. And if you guys have this option on, every time you go to take cover, when you guys are in first person, it will actually switch the camera to third person. I just find this super useful because you guys can actually see around the corner then, and I would highly recommend that you try that setting. For first person vehicle auto center, I just prefer to keep this on. For first person vehicle HUD, I keep this on as well. I do sometimes turn this off, but just keep in mind guys, if you do have this setting on, then you guys won't be able to see the interior of your car. And last but not least guys, for first person drive-by camera relative to vehicle, I just like to keep this on. And that is all of the camera settings. We're now going to be moving down to the display settings. And starting things off in the display settings, you guys want to make sure that the radar is on. You guys also want to make sure that the HUD is also on. And for the weapon target, this is really down to you guys. I just prefer the complex one, but you guys can also select the simple weapon target. Try both of these settings out and see which one you prefer. And if you guys do prefer the simple weapon target, then you guys can also adjust the size of it here. For the GPS route, you guys want this on. For the expanded radar, I would say that you guys probably want this off. You guys can also put the expanded radar up by pressing down on the D-pad twice. Moving on to the player overhead display, I like to keep this off, but I have had this on before. What this is going to do when you guys have this on is just show somebody's gamer tag above their character. Now for the safe zone size, this really just depends on your screen, and what works best for me is having this all the way full. For the in-game depth of field effects, I like to keep this off. I do believe if you guys had this on, then you guys are going to get some motion blur, but once again guys, motion blur can make it more immersive, so it really depends on you. For screen kill effects, I like to keep this on. For subtitles, I like to keep this on as well. And finally, the measurement system, I just like to use Imperial. Once again, this measurement system is really down to you guys, but that is all of the display settings. We're now going to be moving down to the notification settings. And for the notification settings, I just like to keep everything selected as on, but if you guys don't like some of these alerts, then this is where you can turn them off. I would recommend that you guys change the message frequency to 1 hour. This will just stop you guys getting spammed. But that is everything for the notification settings. We now have the Rockstar editor settings, and for this, it really just depends on you guys. This is something that you guys can really mess around with. I like to keep this on, maybe on private as well, but if you guys aren't really that familiar with the Rockstar editor, I would recommend that you guys put the Rockstar editor tooltips on. This will help you guys tremendously when you guys are using the Rockstar editor. But finally guys, moving down to saving and startup, I like to keep the startup flow selected to load into GTA Online. What this means is when I load GTA up, the first thing the game is going to do is load me into GTA Online. Although I would probably recommend that you guys keep this to load into story mode. The reason for that is because you guys can load so much faster into story mode and then just load into GTA Online from there. By loading into story mode first, you guys will load into GTA Online so much faster than typically doing this. But anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. If you guys found this video useful, make sure to leave a like, 'cause it really helps me out. And if you guys are new to the channel and like what you see, be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications to never miss a video. Finally guys, stay safe and thanks for watching.